So you will be familiar with syllabus. Are you familiar? So we have total, let's say that 8 topics we say, isn't it? Either you tell them as chapters, or you can say topics, right? So basically we have this one, which is the ethics and human interface, and that is your foundation of, let's say, it is foundation, or you can say that the core philosophy. It will be representing your core philosophy. This. Then if you take that next 3 topics, if you attitude and emotional intelligence. Yes. So basically these 3 topics relate to human behavior, and that human behavior is more of a psychological aspect. Although social is also included, we will say that social and psychological. Like your attitude, your inclination of attitude, you may be having certain understanding about your attitude, what attitude you have. Or let's say emotional intelligence, you may be emotional but not yet intelligent, isn't it? But you may have emotional intelligence. So emotional intelligence is part of our human, let's say, behavior, and aptitude is part of your, let's say that, inherent, what in inherent you have received. Like generally transformation, let's say that you get from your parents certain aspects of inherence, let's say that in your personality. So let's say if your father can be of certain, let's say that having certain personality traits, you may have certain traits like that. So aptitude represents something called inherent things that we have, like your health, the genetic aspect of also health, how healthy one is, isn't it? So that way, let's say, but it has nothing to do with what we are trying to make you aware what are that syllabus topics that we have, what they have the inclinations. So aptitude is representing that side, you can consider. We can say psychological and social aspect. What we have told here, core philosophical aspect. The core philosophical means they will build your philosophical understanding. They will, let's say that you will have to understand them to understand the topics in this paper. In fact, they will help you this understanding all. So first topic is theoretical and all others are nothing but application. It is in that way. So that is what we can club. Then let's say this is related to those who have given the philosophy, isn't it? So philosophers will find thinkers and philosophers. It will be linked to topic 1 itself. Because you can have philosophy and you can have philosophers. That way it will be linked. In a way, you know that you can have not 7 topics, you can have 6 topics. That way. Anyhow, then the 2 topics that you have, these 2 topics which we say, so the term, it is written itself here, administration, and here governance. You may be familiar with administration and governance. No. At least, no, paper second have you studied? In paper second also there is governance. That way, if you are not aware, means you have not studied, but you are observing on day-to-day basis. Right, governance and administration. The governance and administration, if you take, so it can be considered as something application, It can be considered application. Application means there you are observing, it is happening day to day basis. Right. So when it is happening day to day basis, it is called application. This, like administration, how good administration is behaving, how an administrator has behaved, you can see how, let's say, government has behaved, how Election Commission of India is behaving in Bihar. No, in case of special intensive revision, this you may be reading a bit of familiar, तो उसमें आता होगा ये some, let's say, issues will be coming there, ethical issues, moral issues, this and that, accountability, responsibility, no. So you may be familiar with that. So these two topics are pure application. They are pure application, let's say. We have to learn or know that how we apply it, and they are related to administration and governance, which already they have mentioned a term called public administration. Either you link with public administration or you link with civil services. This public administration, civil services, that this. So broadly you can say that we can categorize entire 7 topics into 3 different streams you can consider. No, 3 broad streams we can see this, and those 3 broad streams can be considered. So syllabus, this, so we can classify syllabus as, let's say that ki core philosophy and philosophers, this, then social psychology, and then administration, governance. That is how we can say. It is interplay of, it will be interplay of all the 3, isn't it? This paper is interplay of all the 3. This, so basically we have to learn philosophy, philosophers. They will learn here from moral principles. Basically you will learn moral principles. Here you will learn about human behavior. Human behavior and how moral principle can be applied to human behavior in the context of administration. No. Administration. In administration, who is there? You are there, you are supposed to be there, isn't it? So your behavior. Your behavior will be guided by your social psychological aspect. The society that you belong, what you have learned from society. This, but you are supposed to be guided by moral principle, and then you will work as administrator. This. So broadly what we have to learn in this paper is called, we have to be learning applied ethics. You have to learn more about applied ethics. इसको बोला जाता है applied ethics. So we have to know the concept. This you have to learn. Basically both will explain concept part. This will be related to more of concept part. This will be more related to application part. So ethics paper is about concept plus application. This, that way. Just at initial level for building your understanding to what we have to, later on these things will become very common to you. This, the syllabus you should know. Why? Because that is how, let's say that it is the smallest syllabus. It is the smallest syllabus. You should know syllabus so that you know that what you have to study. This, and then you have to know that what are the different topics of the syllabus so that you can link with the developments which are happening. Already there are several developments which are happening in our society, so you are supposed to link with them. This, as I told you that you may be familiar, even if you are not reading newspaper, ठीक है, you are reading chat GPT, जो भी चल रहा है, isn't it? So let's say this special intensive revision. This, so articles have been written in newspaper, isn't it? And suppose, let's say you are asked what are ethical issues in that. ऐसे ही पूछा जाएगा ना, isn't it? What are ethical issues? This, ethics में तो यही पूछा जाएगा, ethical issues. So you have to identify what are ethical issues. This, you should be able to link with, you should have ability to link with the topics. Then you will be able to. The syllabus is given, I guess. You may have received books, etc. Have you received 4 books? 4? Yes. So it is given in that also. Let me give you details of the syllabus. This, that is your detail. This, it is detail of your syllabus. Each topic, let's say, the first you had 7 topics. Those 7 topic details, if you see, so you know that many a time what they write may not be clear, but this is essence, determinants and consequence of ethics in human action. That is what entire philosophy. This, it is entire philosophy part. Thereafter, they are not that dimensions, public, private, human values. Then they have written great leaders, family, educational institutions, etc. So what you will find the topics if you take this, yes. So in topics, you can tell that, you can see that whatever the topics if you have, so topics will have some conceptual part, and then they will have some application parts. Syllabus if you want to understand. So these are, let's say, what we can say that as concept part. Human values, concept. But when they say that this lesson learned lives of teachings of great leaders, administrators, role of family, society and educational institutions, so what it happens? Applied it happens. This, each topic will have concept and application. This plus the last 2 topics are applicative. This, like let's say that attitude. So why we should know about attitude at this stage? This, no, it is important to learn the attitude of people. This, so when we learn the attitude of people, we can either know that people have good attitude or bad attitude. So when people have bad attitude, we will try to change the attitude. So unless you learn how attitude is formed, we cannot change. Unless we know what are the problems, unless we know how to change, we cannot change the attitude. This, at least in answer, isn't it? In answer, you have to write how to bring change in attitude. So that is what, let's say, we have to understand. So this is called content, structure, function. And then let's say social influence this, and then thereafter this comes moral, political attitude, social, and this. So there will be, let's say, application. How you will know that? Also you will know by nature of questions. Right. The questions largely have been asked concept plus application part. Same thing, let's say aptitude and foundational values of civil service, they have given terminologies. So these are your terminologies. So have you seen the UPSC papers? No. Syllabus नहीं देखा तो पेपर कैसे देखा? Anyhow, if you have seen question papers, you will find that they ask some terminologies. They will tell you that let's say explain meaning with examples, explain meaning with relevance. That is how they will tell. They explain meaning with example, explain meaning with relevance. So you have to write examples also, not only meanings. And they will not ask only these terminologies, they will have a lot of terminologies. Right. In fact, in that book we have given over 140 terminologies. The material that you have received, you have got over 140 terminologies, of which over 50 which are most important. This we will teach in the class. We will tell you, define it, example will give positive, negative, all blah blah things we will talk. So that way you can consider. Now let's take that emotional intelligence. You know that concept, they have written concept, themselves they have written. Now utilities, then what they are saying? They are themselves writing this application in administration and governance. So we don't have to know only emotional intelligence, we have to learn how to apply them. Now if you take public services, that is how. You know that ethical concerns, dilemmas, so that is how I was referring this, relating to, because administration is everything under the sky. Sorry to say that, isn't it? Administration means anything, right? Which can you directly or indirectly link. Right? The question can be anything they can ask. Right? They have asked even BNS. This you should know that. BNS has also been asked. Applied ethics जिसको बोलते हैं. Anyhow, so you will find this. Then government and private institutions, laws, rules, these are the conceptual part. Then ethical, moral, this is conceptual part. Then ethical issues in international relation. They have also mentioned corporate governance. Right. We have ethics in IR also, and then we have corporate governance also, and there will be another governance somehow. Let's say that's ethical governance. This ethical governance. There is ethical governance, there is accountability, then corporate governance. There is governance, good governance, and ethical governance. How we know syllabus? We don't know syllabus only by this, we also know syllabus by what questions they have asked so far. That way. Many a time questions will tell that from this topic what they are asking. They have not mentioned the term good governance, but they have asked 2 times good governance. So that way we can explain. So that is how this part. Then probity in governance, if you see, it is also related to public service. Then information sharing, it is about RTI. Then you would say this right to information. Then code of ethics, code of conduct, citizen charter, which is part of paper second. Also you know that work culture, quality of service, utilization of public fund, corruption, etc. So these 2 topics will appear more of application type in themselves, although they have their own concepts. Plus other topics, let's say they have concept plus application. So on the whole syllabus, you should know the syllabus so that when developments in future, by the time class is going on, you are dependent on class. And we'll tell you examples which are happening right now also. But once class finishes, let's say thereafter, and by the time you appear in mains, no, so futuristically next year you will appear, and being more, let's say, objective, so it takes time, both ways, isn't it? So by the time you appear, you have to gather your own examples. This you should know, that way. That way you will make yourself updated. So basically what we have to teach in essence, let's say that. In essence, if we write our essence, in essence we have to teach you concept, this. The concept has let's say that basis. What is concept? It is basically a kind of something, when you explain, it has its own structure, it has its own process. We have to understand it, it has its own relationship, it has its own way of telling. This is how we can say. although the literal meaning of concept is mental image, mental construct, this. But there is a concept. Everything has a concept. Unless you understand the concept, तो you will not be able to differentiate. राइट जैसे मान लो कि अभी हम आपसे क्वेश्चन पूछते हैं लॉ एंड एथिक्स, राइट डिफरेंस क्या है, व्हाट इज डिफरेंस बिटवीन लॉ एंड एथिक्स, तो यू विल एक्सप्लेन, राइट you can define law, you can define ethics, you can relate it, but what exact relationship they have, that will come from your concept, right? Ki what you have understood about relationship between law and ethics. ऐसे तो in general you will say both are important. This is how people will write, both are important. But अगर पूछ दिया जाए कि which one is more important, right? This, so that will demand understanding, and the understanding which demands, right? The understanding which demands, that is called concept, right? This is what we have to understand. Otherwise, you can get a set of definitions and you can know about ethics. No. Anyhow, the concept, this is how. In concept part, we have to also explain, let's say, ki meaning and definition. You have to also explain interrelationship. Interrelationship. क्यों? In ethics, if you read paper, right, some questions will always be about linking between two terms. Some questions will be about linking between two terms. Like, they have asked this 2 times. Law and ethics relationship. Right. And they have asked this constitutional morality. Have you heard? This and social morality. They have asked 2 times, and this year they have asked again 3 times. This, that is what it is. Basically, we have to understand not only, let's say, ki definition, let's say, this is terminology we have given, so you can know the meaning, right? But meaning can help you understand what is empathy, what is tolerance. But then question comes, differentiate tolerance and empathy, isn't it? Discuss the relationship between empathy and tolerance. आपका tolerance खराब हो जाएगा. Right? No, how they are different. But that will be related to conceptual aspect. So concept, meaning definition, interrelationships. That is one. And then ethics paper अभी जो trend चल रहा है, as per the recent trends, it demands lots of examples. Right? So we have to know lots of examples, lots of facts related. This it demands. And next is application. You have to apply in a particular situation. Right? This, in fact, the 2 relations, if we say what is relevance, what is significance? No. Constitutional morality, what is significance of constitutional morality? The significance part is application part. You have to relate how it is important. The application, and application you cannot write effectively unless you bring philosophical reference. Right, you have to bring philosophical reference. Philosophical reference मतलब महात्मा गांधी ने क्या बोला, isn't it? अम्बेडकर साहब ने क्या बोला, right? तो suppose you are writing constitutional morality, तो constitutional morality में दो लोगों ने बोला, right? हमारे देश में एक तो बी आर अम्बेडकर, दूसरा सुप्रीम कोर्ट. This, so you have to relate it. This, that is what basically you have to write. तो here यहाँ पे philosophical हो सकता है बी आर अम्बेडकर plus सुप्रीम कोर्ट. Right. Basically, this is what we have to teach you, what you have to learn. This paper consists of concepts and this, plus with those concepts and interrelationship, suitable examples, and then we have to apply in a particular situation, or a question itself can be application type, and in that we have to refer some philosophies so that we can support our view. This supporting our view, and we have to know both positive side and negative side, both examples we have to know. So that way this is what we have to learn. That will be the approach of this paper when we talk this, and that is what we can say this. Now next is that before we start on this, sources of reading, no, how you should read, etc. Right. The book that is given, there also we have written sources of reading. This. So it is very exhaustive, you can consider. Let's find this. So we have made the 2 volumes that we have given, then these are other additional things. It depends on you whether you want to read them, right? Just to make you familiar also, it is our duty to tell you that these are other sources. It is up to you whether you take them, not take them, that is how. But there are also other sources. Like say IGNOU has also brought its own, let's say ethics related various types of small modules are there. You can download and see that. Then there is a DOPT manual, generally we tell, although it is uploaded on portal, soft copy is uploaded on your portal, let's say that. On portal you can access, and I think this DOPT manual values in administration. Why? Because at this stage you may have less understanding about ethics. In your mind, in your knowledge, there will be less ethical type of understanding, because you have been taught largely about your subjects, in which ethics was not the subject. You have not been taught ethics as a subject at college level, but UPSC has introduced at this level. This. So we don't teach it, and that's why ethical bent of mind you may have, but it can be very raw type. This. So this, it has, I think yes, this. I think first 70 pages, generally we say that. The first 70 pages are good, relevant, you know that. Why? Because they write very simple way. It is very simple way writing on ethics. It is Indian document by DOPT. It also gives about Indian philosophy, references about Indian philosophy. Right. Initially we refer it so that you can become familiar with the subject. Although we have updated this printed, let's say the book that we have given, it is also written in a very lucid way and very, let's say that it is explanatory. If you read them, you will understand this that way. Then if you love reading books, so this is a very good book on ethics. It covers almost all that theoretical part, core philosophy with examples, etc. Although it is written in a Western environment, but still it is considered, let's say, Michael Sandel's justice book. So this, then there would be repetition almost, but we have added one more book here, new book, let's say, called R.K. Arora Sahab ne also, he has written, let's say that a book known as Ethics, Integrity and Values in Public Services. Especially this book is helpful for those people who have less understanding about Indian administration. And suppose you are going to be in the field of administration, but your understanding is not that much about Indian administration, application aspect, you can know about administration, but it is very bulky book. This, that also no, because it is applied. It is less theoretical, it is more applied. So that way it can be. Then leaders, philosophers. So since leaders, philosophers, core leaders, philosophers we can tell, but some others you can refer from books, and beyond that you can search, see, learn from history, etc., etc. On the whole, what we can say? What you should follow, what should be your approach? So on the whole, if you tell, sources of reading. So on the whole, we'll tell, follow the 4 books that we have given. We have given 4 books, right? The 2, let's say volume 1 and 2, they are theoretical. They are for theories and I think facts, examples. It is for, let's say, enrichment. This and case studies, which will come later on when we'll do case studies. This, in addition to that, you can follow DOPT. I think ARC second we not mentioned somewhere. Huh? There are stages of books. You should not get concern like, or you should not be worried that here's how many books we have to read for that. It is not like that. These books are not like, let's say, Lakshmikant Polity and others. No, if you read Lakshmikant 4 or 5 times, still, let's say that it will be challenging to get something out of that, isn't it? And retain it. But these books are very interesting, let's say, they talk about concepts, philosophy, etc. They are not that factual and challenging this way. So while when we'll teach our syllabus wise you can read and come to class so that you can have some ideas about them. Like if you teach about definition part, if you teach about normative theory, you may read normative theory and then you can come, so that way, let's say, it can be helpful. This. Now, if you take facts and examples, so this is for advanced stage, not at this stage. Although we'll add ourselves lots of facts and examples, so since you are doing class, so it may not be that much, let's say, good for you. Because there can be repetition also, but still a separate booklet we have given so that nowadays it is era of facts and example. People are putting in their answers, so that's so that you have adequate bunch of examples and facts for this paper. And this will come later stage when the case studies will come. Next, this one is just for your initial stage. It will not take much time to read 70 pages, which are very simple way to, that means simple way they have written, and this is, let's say, you can consider a fundamental reference. It is a fundamental reference. Why fundamental? Ethics in governance, ARC second, and they ask even direct questions from this. UPSC has also asked question. So they will ask directly question from this. Which anyway you will study for your, let's say, paper second, a bit of that, it will help you. So if you want to depend on them, that is how it is. Still, let's say that there is solution. On the whole, even you can completely rely on class which will have notes dictation, that is called handwritten. Since we dictate notes properly, this, even if you are thorough with them, it's adequate enough. Right? Because in market, people know good. Let's say you know that they read only handwritten notes, right? And the person who secured highest in ethics, 163 something once, she also read that handwritten notes, right? She did not do class. Even people have secured highest marks just reading the handwritten notes what we teach in class. You are doing class itself. Right? So if you understand in class the concepts that we are explaining, etc., it is still adequate enough. This is what we say. These are the things to tell, and that is how it can be considered. Next, you should know that already you will be familiar. Ethics, essay are optional. This is how. They play a very key role. This optional you can have, whatever the optional you have, but then this ethics and essay, they are interrelated. And both carry, let's say that, with less investment or the least investment if you compare other papers. Right? Your optional demands most investment. In fact, it will take your heart out. This optional is like this. Right? So that way you should know this. Right? Still, whether it will be paying, we cannot guarantee. Right? But you can see that we have very less syllabus in ethics, whatever we have told. But just take GS paper 1 syllabus. Even society syllabus will be bigger than this ethics syllabus. Right? This, and paper 2 syllabus, again you can see paper 3 syllabus if you know that. If you go that way, so it is quite, let's say that, it is called low hanging fruit, people say that. It is quite, let's say, rewarding and easily people get, we say that we can help you easily get 115. You can easily get 115. उसके बाद आपका efforts और luck. This, that is what we say. If you are getting 130, it is your hard work and luck. We will help you getting that quite easily, 115 in this paper. And with that much, whatever the efforts you have, 45 classes that we tell this. So we have, let's 45 classes. In that, I think is 7 case studies. Plus, we'll add 3 more classes that will be applied. Separate class nowadays we are taking applied ethics. Yes. Although we'll try to include that and cover that way, let's say that. But since contemporary development, paper, etc., then you find that when we started teaching in 2013, we had no experience. What questions would be asked? We taught whatever we, let's say that, understood ourselves. Right. And then when paper was asked, then gradually you started changing it. This. So basically there was a time, you know, that if you take paper, how it has been going on. This. And now we are having, let's say, I will tell that 2025 like this. So it's now it's a long range you can consider. So what we have to do is, it is not your concern, it is our concern. We have to incorporate these things, because as I told that, one you know syllabus and another you know the syllabus through questions. So the things which are not part of syllabus, we have to cover it, and covering that it starts taking time. Otherwise you will never notice it. We can finish in 20 class में भी finish होता है market में, isn't it? This 20 class. 8 क्लास में तो हम आपको सिर्फ कोर फिलॉसफी पढ़ाएंगे बस. और सोचो 20 क्लास में क्या होता है एथिक्स फिनिश्ड और मोर लेट्स से दैट कि बहुत. और although I'm not don't want to talk anything else about outside or critic etc. just to give an example. This so it takes time because it is our responsibility. This is how we have been doing it, sustaining it. This so far. और पायरेसी नहीं होता तो माहौल कुछ और ही होता. राइट. जब तक पायरेसी नहीं था तो माहौल कुछ और था. ठीक है, पार्ट एंड पार्सल. बट जब पायरेसी नहीं था तो ये क्लास में जगह नहीं होता था. राइट. दिस एंड जब पायरेसी हो रहा है तो बहुत जगह है क्लास में. Right. This anyhow. So the question is that in corporation, because it is our self-responsibility. If you take last year question, you know that means 2025 question, etc. How they are making applied. So what they have added, I will tell you that they have added applied topic. What do we mean by applied topics? Applied topics. Already there is applied. So then again I am telling applied topics. So here when we say applied topics, any sundry topic they can ask. That is how we may applied topic. Like they ask BNS. BNSS. Are you familiar? This. And they ask in ethics paper. Right. So BNS you have read largely for, let's say that कि paper second are in general. अब आपको इसमें से ethics निकालना है. You have to write ethical oriented answer. This. So this is not first time they have asked. They have asked official secret act. And we expected in paper second. They ask in paper 4. This. That way. They have asked mission Karmiyogi. They have asked Swachh Bharat mission. In ethics paper, Swachh Bharat mission. This. Anyhow, so we have to prepare you on this similar topics. That is how it is. That is how we mean by applied topics. When we say some applied topics like this, that way. So this way we'll cover. Then, if you take, since I have mentioned here, the nature of questions, if you say in short, let's say, although it's a stage, but I don't know how much you understand what I am talking. Nature of questions. Generally, एक cycle होता है UPSC का. It goes like this. It goes like this. If let's say the question is this year theoretical, next year it will be applied. If it is theoretical, it is applied. And it can balance also. Like if you take 2024 paper, it was more theoretical. If you take 2025 paper, it is more applied. This way. What do we mean by theoretical? They will ask more conceptual type question. This. And when applied, they will frame sentences, blah, blah, you know that. Right? In UPSC, a question is one paragraph at times. Right? This. So they will frame question. So that is how we have to have balance between both theory and application. That way. And that is what we can consider about this. Now, in this we have also, I think, how many tests have you seen? 5, 4, 5, yes. So there will be 5 tests also. This. The 5 tests in math, 4 will be sectional test basically. Sectional one let's say. One test will be let's say full length test. This. So that way we'll progress in this paper, and that is how some aspects we can consider on this. Then first topic, generally we start about understanding ethics, right? This. Understanding ethics. In this understanding ethics, we'll talk about this definition, ethics, this relevance, meaning, normative theory of ethics. This. So, how to understand ethics? Basically, it is the concept part. This is all concept. This, or the core aspect, let's say. So, do you have any familiarity with ethics? Any familiarity with ethics? What do you know about ethics when ethics comes in your mind?
Values, moral principles. Maybe it is a subject dealing with the study of human beings.
Yes. Right. Ethics. So, basically, let's that when we talk about ethics, right? Yes, ethics will understand what ethics is, but let's start that when we talk ethics, so basically it deals with right and wrong. This right and wrong. What is right? What is wrong? This. What is right or right? So it will deal with right and wrong. Of which right and wrong? किसके लिए? Human conduct, human act, human behavior. Right. It deals with human behavior. It does not deal with largely, let's say, it will be largely ethics deals with human behavior. So wherever we have human behavior, human interface, human conduct, etc., it will talk about human behavior, right and wrong. This now. On what basis we can say right and wrong? Isn't it? कुछ तो होगा ना? On what basis? On what basis? On what basis human conduct is considered right or wrong? This. So basically you can tell that ki on the basis of, let's say, moral principles. No, you can say on the basis of moral principles. All on the basis of, let's say, values. This, or on the basis of societal societal norms, let's say that, or acceptance. This norms, acceptance, let's say that. Now, how those moral principles come? How those moral principles come? Who set them? Who set them? This you can say. And then next question comes to why. Why we need to know right or wrong, or why we need to be ethical. This that way. So basically, if you take that, it deals with right and wrong. That then on what basis it will deal right and wrong? That can be moral principles. Then how those moral principles come, and why we are supposed to be ethical. So these all will be answered by, this is how, those who will talk about moral philosophy. This. So all those who answer this, all those who deal with this, right, we say them as moral philosophy. This. That will be dealt by moral philosophy. This moral philosophy, or in more specific way we say them as normative theory, which will explain you. We are just trying to normative theory of ethics. Means basically, don't you know that this is not just meaning? No, all these things when we will explain, that you may be able to develop, or whichever the, let's say that field it talks, it may itself emerge as a science, isn't it? It will become a body of knowledge, because let's say all these things when you are going to answer, that will itself give rise to a body of knowledge, and when there is a body of knowledge, it is called science. This you can say. So it can also become a normative science. Right? But we'll come back to that later stage. Still we are trying to answer. But before, let's say, answering this, ethics, which deals with conduct, human behavior on the basis of moral principles, talking about right and wrong, and then we are saying on what basis, let's say that why we should be concerned about right and wrong. So these things are, let's say that not that easy to answer. It will take a bit time to explain you, right? And we'll come back alternatively. Let's say many a time we explain something else to help you understand this. So let's go on alternative way to explain it. The alternative way to explain is, let's come back to right and wrong. Right? Right and wrong. And right and wrong is also talked in your family. Right? Family. In family, every day they are saying you right and wrong. Isn't it? this is right, this is wrong, this is not right, isn't it? You should not do this, you should not do that. A family has itself its do's and don'ts. This a family itself has prepared its do's and family. Individual can also have. No, if we start from individual, right? The individual can also have. Individual can also have do's and don'ts, right? But family has. Then society also has. Society also has its do's and don'ts. This, the society also has. And let's say that family society के बाद formal institution आ जाता है. That is called organization, right? And it has also its where does it come? ये सब आया कैसे? आता कैसे? Right. Knowledge about right and wrong. So where does it come from? And certainly it could have come from ancient time, etc., when society may have evolved, isn't it? But let's say that, let me tell ki this is very professional, isn't it? If an organization has adopted, so we are bound by that. Yes. If organization has adopted, so we are bound by that. Organization. So let's say that ki if you join civil services, then in civil services what are don'ts? Don'ts क्या है? Right. तो don'ts क्या है? Yes, so you should not be biased. Don'ts क्या है? You should not take bribe. Right? They will list a set of things. Right? So they will also have do's, isn't it? And do's क्या है? Integrity. Do's क्या है? Impartiality. Right? This, so that we can consider. Now, in Indian society, क्या हो सकता है? This, our society promotes tolerance. Can we say this? Our society promotes inclusivity. This, and what our society rejects? This. Don'ts of society. Right. Very difficult. So, society basically, let's say, society will reject don'ts, let's say, too much individualistic. This materialistic. It will reject, right, materialistic type of thing, let's say this. We believe more in sacrifice, that we can consider. This, anyhow, similarly, let's say family can have its own rights and let's say don'ts and all. Now, the question is that basically, let's say when family tells you what is right or wrong. So at times you also try to, let's say, argue that. No, you argue, you agree. Sometimes you argue, isn't it? Sometimes you reason out, isn't it? So we argue, we reason out. This. Why we argue? Right? No, conflict of interest अलग चीज है, conflict अलग चीज है. Right? तो फैमिली में conflict होगा, conflict of interest नहीं. Right? ठीक है? Conflict of interest formal setting में होता है. When personal things conflict with professional things. Family में conflict हो सकता है. Right? Anyhow, it does not matter. Let's come to this. So basically what happens, let's say, that family. The family has its own values. This, and suppose you, this, basically your moral development or your level of knowledge is gradually improving. This, your, let's say, your level of knowledge, this, it is improving. So when it is improving, so what you can do is that you may, on the basis of this and on the basis of this, there may be, let's say, differences. This. So when there are differences, you may say many a time bluntly, many a time you can take very softly, depends on the situation, isn't it? But let's say that there is continuous friction in society. There is continuous friction in society, friction in family. Why friction? There is continuous friction in society. Why friction? Between right and wrong. This. And that is how society has improved. It has come to this stage. Right. Society has come to this stage. Although still this is not the purpose of explaining this. But whatever we are at this stage society has come because of continuously there has been friction in society between right and wrong. And that friction starts with family. It goes in society. From society it can go in family. It can be two-way also. And from both it can go in organization, or from organization it can go in society. In fact, in entire society, including organization, there is a continuous friction between what is right and what is wrong. This, that you can consider. What is right and what is wrong. Like, if you take societal example, so let's take that this. Bihar issue, which is quite in news, so you may be familiar with this, right? Ab let's say that someone had challenge in Supreme Court. Why someone had challenge in Supreme Court? Someone had challenge in Supreme Court. So why it had challenge in Supreme Court?
The argument is a certain class of people are being excluded from the voter list.
Yes. 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 So there can be different way to you can see it, right? This. Now what court will do? right? What court will do?
इंटेंशन चेक करेंगे.
Right. This. So basically what they will try to do is, in very simple way, the court will try to see, is it right? Right? Isn't it? Court will say that whether doing this is right or not. Right? This. Ab, it will test it whether it is right or not. This is how it will test. अब टेस्ट करने के कुछ पैरामीटर्स होंगे, राइट? टेस्ट करने के क्या होगा? पैरामीटर्स. And one parameter is, yes, the law itself. This, the law तो allow कर रहा है, right? So this is how it is lawful, right? They will say it is lawful. But court will not stop there. Court will not only stop there, right? Court will see it is lawful, yes, you have power to do that. But are you doing it in a right way? Is it a right time? Is it just? Is it fair? Isn't it? Court will ask many questions. Right. The many a time law is obvious. As Article 324, you have power to do it. And Representation of People Act, it is you have various powers. That you understand. But court will not stop there only. Court will try to see whether it is fair, it is just, is it right time? This, it is right time. Citizens, they have their some rights, etc. Isn't it? That way. And those who have challenged, they have also challenged more on this basis. They have not challenged on this. Right. So for Election Commission of India, let's say, again the fight is hit not what is lawful. Right. Fight is what is right. Is it right? Right. The various types they will try to scrutinize. So what I am trying to say is that in society we have continuous basis fight between, friction between right and wrong. And that right and wrong starts from family, society, organization. It's all across you can consider. This. Then let's say that a situation may come that even two persons can fight. Even two persons can fight. You should know that. Two persons can fight, two communities can fight, two countries can fight. Right. For right and wrong, how will decide who is right, who is wrong? That way we can consider. So society may experience many such problems and issues. This you should know that. And when society may experience, then how we will decide it? This. Which principle we will follow it? This. Let's say you can have issues related to, there was a time that child marriage. Child marriage, it was promoted. But then a time came that it was rejected. We had, let's say, sati practice, and there was a time, and then it was also rejected. This, you have dowry, let's say that, and it was also rejected. We have even law, Dowry Prohibition Act. This, so this way we can consider. ये तो ट्रेडिशनल इश्यूज हो गए, राइट. रिसेंट इश्यूज में क्या चल रहा है मान लो, लेट्स से कि यू हैव this we have issue of this we have issue of this, right? और list बढ़ता जाएगा. You should know that the list can be this. We may go on. बहुत सारे लिस्ट है, बाद में आएगा. Later on we'll talk. But why I brought this issue? Let's say this. So you may be aware about this case, isn't it? This case is related to this. So Supriya case. In this case, Supreme Court says that same-sex marriage is not allowed. Why? So यहाँ पे why it is not allowed? Because you have Hindu Marriage Act, even Special Marriage Act, और दोनों में ये mentioned है, right? कि male and female mentioned, right? तो since law में ये mentioned है, that's why you should. Supreme Court is saying कि no, it is not, right? But अभी भी तो हम लोगों ने एग्जाम्पल दिया था यहाँ पर. यहाँ पे कोर्ट क्या कह रहा है? कोर्ट तो लॉ में जा ही नहीं रहा है. जस्ट वी गेव एग्जाम्पल. हालांकि पहले क्लास के लिए थोड़ा सा चैलेंजिंग हो सकता है, बट लेट्स से दैट कि व्हाट वी टोल्ड हियर, it is accepted कि law, yes, you have power in law, right? But you are not only scrutinizing law, you are scrutinizing certain values you can consider, either constitutional values you can say, right? Democratic values you can say, whatever the values, you are scrutinizing also on the basis of values, right? But in this case, you are going just by law, right? Which you will study when polity, you will understand it. My purpose is to come on what is right and wrong as per ethics. And what is that ethics? We are trying to explain you that this way. So you will find that they have taken this. And they say they do not allow. But if you take, they have made triple talaq unlawful, right? तो वो इस समय तो लॉ था नहीं, तो पहले कोर्ट ने ये डिक्लेयर किया, राइट, कि ट्रिपल तलाक इज अनलॉफुल, एंड देन लॉ वाज ब्रॉट. लॉ नहीं है फिर भी आप डिसीजन ले रहे हो, एंड यू से समथिंग एज रॉन्ग, राइट? यू से समथिंग एज रॉन्ग, तो किस बेसिस पे आप ले रहे हो? मोरल प्रिंसिपल. You are taking on the basis of moral principle. This. So largely you will find, यहाँ भी वही काम किया आपने किया, सबरीमाला केस, moral principle. This moral principle you take. So basically what you have given them right, आपने इनको recognize किया है, आपने दोनों को recognize किया है. LGBT they have right, नालसा केस, right? So they have been, let's say that कि recognized नालसा case and then Navjot, yes, Navjot Singh Johar case. So LGBT and then Khushbu case, it is. In Khushbu case, this is how living was recognized in 2009. Anyhow, So those who are having, they are living, let's say that, without marriage, so they are recognized as marriage, right? ये भी लॉ में नहीं था.
For a certain period of time, they live together.
Yes.
For a certain period of time, they live together.
Yes. तो लेट्स से राइट. तो द क्वेश्चन इज दैट कि ये लॉ में नहीं था लेकिन आपने रिकॉग्नाइज किया है. तो यू विल फाइंड इफ यू गो बाय दीज थिंग्स कि दैट इवन इफ लॉ इज नॉट देयर बट देर इज ए व्यू कॉल्ड राइट एंड रॉन्ग. राइट. There is a law, and as per law also we decide what is right and, but there many a case you will find that ki there are no laws and still we decide what is right and wrong. So on what basis we are deciding it? Right. So these are moral principles. अब ये आते कहाँ से हैं? Right. Where do they come from? Let's say that's. Right. So one thing is clear कि right and wrong decided on the basis of moral principles. This. Then where does, let's say that कि we can get. So when we say right and wrong coming from moral principles, so what are those moral principles? Who set them? And if you know, that is how you will know the meaning of ethics. Right? So moral principles will be set by philosophers or philosophies. This. What will be the basis, let's say that? Basis to set. Yes, moral principles are more important than law. Let's say someone is asking, does it means moral principles are more important than law? Yes. Like what Election Commission of India is doing. Even if it has power, but it has to exercise its power in such a way that it is just, fair, yes, and it brings least inconvenience to citizens. That you should know. So merely being lawful is not enough. You should know that. Gradually, that is how ethics is important. So let's talk that, कि हालांकि there is a gap, the gap I have left. So moral principles are set by those philosophers, and then let's say this is how they set it. They will have their own moral reasoning, logic, critical thinking, which we say as rationality we can consider. And that is how, let's say that since they have set those moral principles, they will have acceptance. They will have certain level of acceptance in our society. And when our, let's say, moral principle, our conduct, let's say, this conduct is going to conform to those moral principles, then we can say as ethical. Means anything cannot be considered as ethical. No. Any conduct, it can be right or wrong. But may not necessarily be ethical. This gradually you will learn. So largely, let's say कि what you know as ethical or unethical as of now, you know on the basis of your understanding, you know on the basis of societal understanding, and that societal understanding may not necessarily be right. This. It means that there are philosophies which we have to know and understand कि what are the philosophies behind them. If there is philosophy which explains that कि yes, fairness is important, so why fairness is important? And what is fair? This. अब suppose कि Election Commission of India should be fair, तो what is fair? वो तो बोल रहा है कि हम तो fair है. Right. This, let's say that when you say this, it is, you say that fair, but ECI, it can defend, it is defending, no, we are fair. Right. Then what is fairness? This, there it is a bit, let's say that level will not go. Let's come back to this. So right and wrong, तो जो day to day friction हो रहा है आपके फैमिली में, वो फ्रिक्शन हो रहा है आपके अपने अंडरस्टैंडिंग के बेसिस पर. वो भी रेलेवेंट है, दैट इज ऑल्सो रेलेवेंट, राइट. बट लेट्स से दैट कि दिस राइट एंड रॉन्ग इज हैपनिंग ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ फैमिली, ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ सोसाइटी. एंड जब ये बहुत थोड़ा हाई लेवल का होगा तो हो जाएगा this way. Like in your family, you will respect your parents, you will respect your culture, isn't it? Society, culture, tradition, we respect it. They are also right, but they may not necessarily be ethical, right? Like generally it comes, let's say, vegetarian debate. Vegetarian, non-vegetarian, isn't it? In your family, since let's say parents, it is called strong belief, religion, faith, all these things we follow. So faith may not allow you to be non-vegetarian. This, right? In Jainism, basically, let's say, Jainism you can consider, although let's say depends on individual to individual, let's say that. But let's say that faith may not allow you to be non-vegetarian. Or in family, family can strongly restrict you. It strongly can regulate your, let's say, fooding behavior, onion, garlic, this, that, isn't it? You should not eat. And you agree, let's say, you may not refute it, you agree it largely. This, and they think that if you adhere them, then you are a good person. This, that way we can consider. So there can be, let's say, that right and wrong in our society. This, but many a time those right and wrong become discriminatory, which we say as social evils. No, so we say them, let's say, family, society, it happens. So we can say them as social evil, this, which can create conflicts in society. Right. But in any mohalla, in family, society, people are logicking themselves, arguing themselves as per their understanding, and they say something as right and wrong. But that may not be right and wrong as per this. Why? So, this, anything that you say right and wrong in the field of ethics, right, it should be based on critical, should be based on moral reasoning and logic. You have to justify it. And you are not only reasoning and logic, others will also reason and logic. Right. So there are two parties, they are having reasoning and logic. And on the basis of that reasoning and logic, they say you have to give your views and counter views. So let's say that here what will happen? Supreme Court will ask to Election Commission of India, tell us why your conduct we can consider fair. This, now they will represent themselves. Right. So Supreme Court will ask to Election Commission of India, tell us that why your conduct, let's see whether your conduct is fair. It will respond to the court. This, it will respond to the court through its advocate. Now Supreme Court asks to other side, see how the things are happening. This is called reasoning and logic going on. Right. So the views, counter views, the advocates of the two sides are giving their views. Right. One is giving one set of views, the another is giving another set of views. Now you have to see that the wisdom the judges have, they have to see which side view is logical. Right. Even Supreme Election Commission of India, if it is logical, it can prove to the court that it is fair. And if the other side is logical, it can prove to the court that it is fair. This, and on the basis of that, judgment can be given. This. So what you are trying to do, basically, which will explain it, that anything that is ethical or unethical, that should be on the basis of moral reasoning, logic, critical thinking, rationality. They are interrelated. One day I will explain the difference between them. It is not still right time. This, to go into that much finer things, a bit more you develop your understanding. So we will talk on this. Like, let's say that, so what is your thinking? What is your thinking? It has not been challenged. Right? So what I think as right and wrong, right, I may not have been challenged in my family. मैं dominant हो सकता हूँ. Right? Parents have never been challenged by children because children obey parents. So whatever the right and wrong they have brought, it depends on their wisdom, their family values, this, that way. But यहाँ तो दोनों का challenge चल रहा है. advocate of both sides, right? And openly, let's say, arguing against each other, right? But ऐसा argument घर में नहीं होता है. This we have to understand. So those who have set philosophies, they have faced challenges. What challenges? Even death. The first person to found philosophy was Socrates, and he was executed for his reasoning and logic. Right? This you should know. Right? So you have to understand this, that we do not reason and logic even if we know it is wrong, but we try to save ourselves. Right? This. So many things in our society exist as right and wrong because we have not rejected. Why we have not rejected? Because we do not want to reject. We do not want to invite trouble. We don't want to face challenges. Even if many things our society may not be right, but they remain right. But what philosophers do? Philosophers challenge it. Right? It is not that let's say they are determined to challenge. No. It is their way of thinking. That's why they are philosophers. Right? So ethics is not, let's say, depending on us, can we say? Ethics does not depend on us. Ethics is outside. That is, its standards are outside. But morality is our inside. Because we have values. Morality is nothing but it is individual values. Although one day we'll talk also that morality and ethics. Try to understand. What we say as right and wrong, so we say right and wrong in day-to-day life on the basis of our own understanding. Right? This. But that may be right and wrong as per society, as per religion, as per social norm, as per your own understanding, but it may not still be ethical. This. To be ethical, that has to conform to moral principles. And those moral principles come from moral reasoning. This is to know that. Therefore, ethics will be different from other things. Right? Ethics will be considered different. The ethics will be different from when we say values, when we say morality, when we say social norms, values, laws, this. So, one day you will understand about them. The day you will understand about them, you will understand ethics more. Means it is like this, the more you start understanding the different topics, the more you start understanding ethics. This is so right and wrong will depend. So how we can define then ethics? When you go and define ethics, so this is how, let's say that, okay? Ethics. So in literal sense, if you talk ethics, so ethics is basically derived from Greek word which is called ethikos. Right. Nowadays some books will talk also ethos. The literal word is ethikos, which some books write nowadays ethos also. This. And ethikos literal meaning means character and conduct. This character and conduct. This. More knowledge leads to more friction. Right? Not necessarily, let's say that. It depends ki how we receive knowledge. But yes, there can be, let's say that, ki friction. But there is no such hypothesis to tell ki more knowledge will result into more friction. right? Many a time knowledge may soften you. So when knowledge will soften you, so you will be more tolerant and accommodative, even if you have differences. So rather it is less knowledge which brings friction rather than more knowledge. Yes. Anyhow, so it deals with character and conduct this way. How we define it, its general definition is like this. Now, we have added some more in this, right? So there are different ways to define. There is also simple way to define, that also will tell. But when we say ethics, to deal with character and conduct of human, to know about right and wrong. Why we want to know right and wrong? Because we want to achieve the chief good, that is called the highest level of human development. The chief good is both individual good and public good. We want to, let's say, see in your conduct, in your behavior, improvement. This, and one day you should become virtuous, you can say. One day you should become a very good human. This you can consider. This, that is how it is. Summum bonum, the term that is used. This. Summum, S-U-M-M-U-M, B-O-N-U-M. This summum bonum, French word it is, which means the chief good. This. What is the chief good, etc.? That is what we are trying to understand. This is not only one, let's say this. This other meanings are also there, so let's write other meanings. Ethics deals with moral philosophy. Ethics deals with moral philosophy. Ethics deals with moral philosophy. Moral philosophy or moral principles. Moral principles. To not only improve human conduct, to not only improve human conduct, but also promote common good in society. Promote common good in society. Next, ethics is about promotion of standards of human behavior. Ethics is about promotion of standards of human behavior. Standards of human behavior on the basis of moral principle. On the basis of moral principles. Moral principles. Moral principles. This. Next, ethics is also defined by philosophers and leaders Ethics is also defined by philosophers and leaders like Aristotle. It is about cultivation of ethics is about cultivation of human character. Ethics is about cultivation of human character and conduct. Human character and conduct with an aim to make human virtuous. Next, Kant. Ethics is about adherence to moral principles. Adherence to moral principles as a duty. Moral principles as a duty, irrespective of consequence. Irrespective of consequences. Irrespective of consequences. This Indian philosophy. In Indian philosophy, ethics is considered as a moral duty. Ethics is considered as a moral duty, that is dharma, as universal law. Universal law. Next, Porter Stewart. Sorry. Ethics is about knowing the difference between what one has right to do and what is right to do. Right? So, how you'll understand these meanings, let's say. There are different types of meanings, still meaning is not yet complete. Right? But why you need to know different meanings? So that you need to understand it from different perspective. So when we say that ethics deals with human character and conduct, even if you suppose define very simple way, you don't need to write, but let's say since nowadays it's time to write lots of quotations, philosophy, this, that, so you can use this as quotation several places when we start writing your answers. That's why we are telling different set of quotations so that you can apply them. But as far as definition is concerned, it can be, let's say that Very simple definition can be that ethics deals with human character and conduct on the basis of moral principles. This can be simpler definition. Ethics deals with human character and conduct on the basis of moral principles. और इससे भी as simple है, ethics is a field of moral philosophy. Right. Ethics is a field of moral philosophy, ethics is a field of moral science. Yes, that way can be defined. Since we are writing it, let's say that another also I will write. Do not do unto others as you won't be done by. Do not do unto others as you won't be done by. Right? अब definitions को भी समझने में ये reasoning apply करना पड़ेगा. No. This. So basically you have to understand the meanings, different definitions in different ways so that you can apply in different situations. Right? How you can apply, but let's come here. जब आपको just ऐसे ही कुछ simple definition लिखना है तो आपको ये लिखना होगा. जब question ethics के ही बारे में है तो आपको standard definition लिखना पड़ेगा. Or you cannot write only one definition, you have to write a set of definitions. Suppose question is what do you understand by ethics? So you cannot only write ethics deals with moral philosophy. Hey, तो बाकी का हम क्या करेंगे 150 पेज मतलब 150 words का. So it is about understanding. So don't think that oh, there are so many definitions. No, it is deliberately being told. There are different definitions. You are supposed to know the different definitions. This also. You are also supposed to know the different definitions. But let's come to this. One day we'll tell you also, perhaps tomorrow, etc. we can tell what is character, what is conduct. These are very micro things we have to tell. Character, conduct, behavior, reasoning, scientific temper, rationality, logic. Differences क्या है इसमें, right? This. But today is not the time to talk on this aspect. But let's say what it is saying. Now let's say that ethics. When this definition is saying ethics is about knowing the difference between this, it demands understanding, let's say that, demands logic, let's say, reasoning that what is the difference between what right you have and what is right to do. No. The Election Commission has right to review electoral rolls. But is it doing in a right way? Right. This. Anyhow, we will come to this. What it is saying. Do not do unto others. दूसरों के साथ आप वैसा व्यवहार मत करो जो आप खुद नहीं चाहते कि आपके against ho. Don't do against others which you do not want against yourself. Right? So this is a yardstick. If you are having doubt about your conduct against anyone, ask this question to yourself. and it will tell you whether you are right or wrong. Right? That will bring moral standard. Right? This. So basically, again, let's say that when we say, when ethics is, let's say, field of moral philosophy, this we have told, knowing difference, universal law, others we are talking. The why different thinkers are defining in different way. Someone is saying it is cultivation of human character, Aristotle. Kant is saying it is a moral duty to adhere ethical principle irrespective of consequence. Why it is? This. There can be different definitions, let's say different meanings of ethics. Why? Because there is a whole lot of philosophy behind this. And there is no one philosophy. Right? There are different philosophies. And when there are different philosophies, because of that, we can have definition from different perspective. This way, because you may value, someone can value compassion, someone can value objectivity, someone can value fairness, some people are highly disciplined. You can find different people having different orientation. Some people are so compassionate, but some people are very rigid, principled. They are also right. Compassionate person is also right, but they are not always right in all situations. Similarly, a philosophy is not always right in all situations. The definition is not always right in all situations. Right. That way we have to understand. So we'll give a bit summary of this, then we'll take why it is. So let's write on that. There are different definitions. There are different definitions of ethics. There are different definitions of ethics. In bracket, although in essence, they may have similar meanings. But differences are due to following factors. Like first, ethics is a field of normative science. Ethics is a field of normative science. In bracket, a branch of philosophy. Next, right and wrong depends on. Next point, right and wrong depends on a set of moral principles. Next, moral principles have been set by moral philosophers. Next, moral philosophers develop moral principles. On the basis of moral reasoning, logic, and rationality. Since there are different moral philosophies, there are different types of definition of ethics. There are different types of definition of ethics. That does not mean there is a problem with definition. That does not mean there is a problem with definition. Rather, there is a diversity in definition. There is a diversity in definition. Diversity in definition. Next, all definitions or moral philosophies, all definitions or moral philosophies have one thing in common, that is rationality. Rationality. That they formulate principles on the basis of rationality, logic, and critical thinking. They form moral principles on the basis of rationality, logic, and critical thinking. Change paragraph. It means anything cannot become ethical. It means anything cannot become ethical. Ethical, although anything can be considered moral or right and wrong. Moral or right and wrong on the basis of social norms and human understanding. But anything right or wrong on the basis of social norms or human understanding. To consider anything as ethical, it should have established standards. It means moral principles are nothing but established standards. Moral principles are nothing but established standards on the basis of moral reasoning by moral philosophers. Moral reasoning by moral philosophers. 10th paragraph. Since principles are set by moral philosophers, it has given rise to a separate field in philosophy. It has given rise to a separate field in philosophy called normative theory of ethics. Normative theory of ethics. And hence, ethics can be formally and comprehensively defined as ethics can be formally and comprehensively defined as ethics deals with human character and conduct. Ethics deals with human character and conduct on the basis of established standards. Ethics deals with human character and conduct on the basis of established standards to know rightness and wrongness, to know rightness and wrongness of human conduct, to achieve the chief good, to achieve the chief good. Right? The chief good, or then you write or. Next, ethics is a branch of normative science. Ethics is a branch of normative science which deals with rightness and wrongness of human conduct, rightness and wrongness of human conduct on the basis of moral principles, on the basis of moral principles, with an aim to achieve the chief good in society, with an aim to achieve the chief good in society. Right? So what we are saying, are you getting something out of this, our discussion? Right. So try to understand again कि anything cannot be considered right and for us, for you, anything can be right and wrong. It does not matter. But for ethics to be anything right and wrong, it matters. Right? Because anything you cannot say. This, you know that कि when you appear in interview, so why you are in tension? Any interview, when you appear, the tension comes, isn't it? Why? Because one thing comes, it can come in your mind, whatever you will tell may not be right. Right. This is should know that. Even tension will happen to me also, anyone. Why? Because they will test your sharpness of knowledge, accuracy in knowledge. Right. So they can simply ask, no, very basic thing. Right. Very basic thing they can ask. And you may get stuck in that. This very basic thing. What is society? Right. What is the difference between society and sociology? Right. Anyhow, society, common sense about society and sociology about society. नो आपके सोशियोलॉजी जिसका ऑप्शनल होगा उसमें ऐसे ही ऐसे ही पूछते हैं, ऐसे ही पढ़ाया जाता है. Right, yes. I have some ideas about sociology. Right. This. So let's that. तो the question is that let's say that कि you will be in tension. Why? Because आप घर में सोसाइटी में आप कुछ भी बोल सकते हैं, right? But when you go and appear in interview, you have to be accurate. You have to be exact. No, you have to be very articulative. That is what you can consider. Similarly, ethics is like this. In general, we can say anything as right and wrong. But then it has its own body of knowledge. The ethics, so ethics right and wrong, let's say that, this right or wrong, the ethics has developed, let's say, its own body of knowledge. और इस बॉडी ऑफ नॉलेज को क्या बोलते हैं? नॉर्मेटिव एथिक्स. बस तो ये कभी ना कभी इवॉल्व हुआ होगा? नो, इट मे हैव इवॉल्व्ड, देन इट विल हैव इट्स बॉडी ऑफ नॉलेज. तो इसका मतलब जजेस को पता होगा थोड़ा बहुत, राइट? यस, आपको भी पता चल जाएगा थोड़े दिनों में, राइट? तो यू विल ऑल्सो नो दिस, राइट? तो इट हैज इट्स ओन बॉडी ऑफ नॉलेज, and that body of knowledge has given moral principles. This is what we are going to understand. It has given moral principles, and we are humans. We are humans, and if we have, let's say that our conduct, there is our conduct. We are humans, our conduct. And this conduct can be considered right and wrong on the basis of moral principles. These moral principles will decide our conduct, whether they will be right and wrong. And this idea started with Socrates. Right. But before going to that, I have told some points, you should know that. So what points we have told is, so we have told that कि why there are different definitions. तो different definitions से बाकी के subject में आप क्या लिखते हो? It lacks universal definition. लिखते हैं ना? This, but इसमें नहीं लिखना है. Right? You don't have to write कि वो ethics lacks universal definition. No, it is not in that way. Rather, it has diversity because it deals with human conduct. There are different philosophies. So when there are different philosophies, they can give you different definitions. The Gandhi defines, Aristotle defines, Kant defines, all are right. Right? All are right in their definition. So that point we don't have to bring, oh, there is ambiguity or there is no clarity. That view we don't have to bring. Right? Rather we can define in a different way. Mahabharata has also defined. And let's say there is also general definition we have told. This is one. All will have one thing common: rationality. All those who have given definition, all those who have given moral principle, they will have rationality as common element. They may have different methods, different ways, but common thing which binds them is rational. They are all rational people. That's why in essence they are similar. That way. Now, so this body of knowledge, normative ethics, इसी को हम बोलते हैं science. We can say normative science, you can say normative ethics. That way, let's say. And this moral principle we will learn one by one. That is how we can say. And that way, we can consider this. Then the comprehensive definition that we have given, it is again for understanding. Either you can use that, it deals with established standard. Ethics deals with, let's say, human character and conduct on the basis of established standard, right? To know rightness and wrongness with an aim to promote the chief good. Always we have written objective wala part also, because we have to also tell you why we have to be right and wrong. Right? Or why, let's say, we need to know, why we need to know all these things, why society should be right and wrong. What is its objective? What purpose ethics serves? Does it serve any purpose when there is a law? Right. The being lawful is enough. Right. That is how different questions can come. So there we'll try to explain. So this moral principle has been set. So let me tell you that what is that normative ethics. This. So normative ethics, as we told, right, talking about human character, let's say. So what should be human character and conduct? So that is led by basically, let's say, three such philosophy. Body of knowledge, we told you that. It will be consisting of virtue ethics. It will be considered deontology. And it will be consisting of teleology. They have given body of knowledge. And when they have given body of knowledge, तो उसको philosophers will tell that it is about normative science. It has become itself a science, a field. Now, here let's say you will have thinkers like Socrates, Plato, Aristotle. Here we can have thinker like Immanuel Kant. Here, let's say, basically it has different schools, let's say that. The teleology can have different schools, so we'll divide that different schools. This, it will be considered utilitarian. It is contractarian. It is contemporary contractarian. Now, this is led by Bentham, Mill. This is led by Hobbes, Locke, Rousseau. This is led by John Rawls. Plus there are other, let's say that, others. Others may will include feminist also, or care ethics. This Carol Gilligan. Carol Gilligan, and will include Indian philosophy. Indian philosophy also. What body of knowledge they have given? What principles? They have given moral philosophies. जो moral principle की हम बात करते हैं, largely they have given moral principles, और पूरे world में their body of knowledge guides your decision. Be it Election Commission of India, be it Supreme Court, be it Government of India, you all, let's say that, will be largely familiar. Any person who has certain length of knowledge, the person will be familiar with what they have taught. If not all, but some of them. Like say, given Indian philosophy, we are familiar. Let's say, we have, let's say, Buddhism, Jainism, we have Bhagavad Gita, you have Mahabharata, Ramayana, let's say that Tirukul you can consider in southern state. So southern literature, let's say, it is another, let's say 2 times UPSC has asked. This year also they have asked that. So that way, let's say, so we can have Guru Nanak, let's say, you'll find Guru Nanak also once they have asked. So you can find that the body of knowledge is not by anyone, but still it is confined as far as UPSC is concerned, you can say. So they, let's say that they will talk, they will know that what they will say. Their moral reasoning is that they give emphasis on human character. What they say that they will give emphasis on human character. They think that if you are able to build good character, character will guide your conduct. Right? Character will guide conduct. The person who is of good character, it is expected that the person will be good. So that's why we try to know about people in our society. वो कैसा है? Isn't it? How is he? What is his character, family, this, that, isn't it? Even in social relations also you try to know character. Social relations, isn't it? खासकर जब marriage, let's say कि when marriage you are going to take decision about any marriage relations, so then you, let's say that you try to know about the families through different sources. When you get selected, UPSC in interview also tries to know your character. This in service also continuity depends on character. If you want to become judge, you want to become CVC member, election commission, UPSC, whatever, one common quality should be good character. Yes, right. So wherever you talk all good character, they will be relevant. Right. So they will. That's why they will define ethics in character term. Right. That is how, because character can be equal to virtue is a quality. If good character means you are a virtuous person. Yes. So their entire focus, they will tell how to build character. What are the good characteristics of character, qualities of character. So they will build good, let's say that they will help you building character, and they will also give you some principles of good character. On the basis of that, we can evaluate people's conduct. This moral principles, evaluating, that way you can say this. Now, he will say that ki ethics is absolute on you. He has this kind of rationality. What rationality he has? You are absolutely duty bound to always act in the right way, irrespective of consequence. Okay. Always, absolutely duty bound to act selflessly, irrespective of consequence. और उसके लिए उन्होंने क्या किया है? Whole lot of philosophy he has given. Why it should be dutiful? What is selflessness? Why you should be selfless? And that is explained by moral reasoning. Right. और वो acceptable philosophy इसलिए तो we are teaching, otherwise we may not be teaching all these things. Right. So moral duty and selflessness. If we are not selfless, our conduct may not be ethical as per Kantian philosophy. The one principle is you are getting is selflessness as moral duty. Selflessness as moral duty. So, recently Supreme Court has scolded one IPS officer of Bihar cadre at senior or middle position. He wrote something. He gave his view. Basically, he has given his undertaking on a particular case. Right? So you are free to give your view on a particular case. कोई incident development हुआ होगा. So there was any incident in Bihar. It was in his jurisdiction, and being an officer having that authority, you are also supposed to give your view on that incident. Right? So he gave his view. Right? It was related to any crime, something, let's say that. So he gave a view, and his view was that in support of, let's say that, government official you can find. Now you have discretion to give your view. Supreme Court, अब इसमें scrutinize क्यों करना है? You have discretion to give your view, whatever the view want to give. Right? You know what Supreme Court told? Supreme Court says that, see, you are bound by Constitution. You are bound by Constitution. You don't work for any government. You work for Constitution. This. And hence, write as per your duty. Right? Irrespective of consequence. और कोर्ट ने यहाँ तक बोला, they went on saying, even if suppose that you can face personal consequences, but it is duty to abide by Constitution. And what can be your consequence? They also told, right, कि बहुत होगा तो आपका ट्रांसफर होगा, प्रमोशन नहीं मिलेगा. This is what Supreme Court says. इसलिए कि उनको पता है कि क्या होने वाला है consequence. But you are duty bound by Constitution. तो यहाँ पे क्या है? That civil servant is not following selflessness as duty. The court considers that IPS officer conduct as inappropriate, even if conduct is lawful. What lawful? Right. Law gives you discretion to give your view. You can give any view. Right. This way. But morality is binding you. That we have to understand. That is how Kant will be relevant. Right. And the court issued contempt. उन्होंने छोड़ा नहीं उसको. The officer seeked apology. बोला no, we will not accept apology. Right. Later on I will show you a full example of that case when we will teach details, but let's come. So you may have also understood a bit of logic. ये कौन सी logic की बात कर रहे होंगे? Absoluteness. There are some situations where we are absolutely bound by our duty. Parents are doing their duty, you will do your duty. कई बार पेरेंट्स को पता है, पेरेंट्स नो कि आप कुछ नहीं करोगे उनके लिए, still they are doing. Why? Duty. The duty as ethics is one moral principle, right? And there is logic. थोड़ा बहुत समझ में आ रहा होगा logic. Now let's come to other side of this. They say that no, self-interest. Right. Self-interest as basis of conduct. Self-interest as basis of conduct. Right? अब इसमें कौन सा logic है? If you act and that serves your self-interest, it is right. तो IPS साहब तो सही थे. Anyhow, we are not still talking, but let me give their philosophy कि वो क्या कह रहे हैं. Right. तो suppose that कि you want to become IAS, right? तो कोई अगर आपसे को मना करे कि नहीं, you will not be allowed to become IAS, तो फिर what will happen? You'll fight. It may result into negative behavior. So when people are not allowed to fulfill their ego needs, it may result into negative consequences. That is the logic. The ego needs of people should be allowed to be fulfilled. This you should know that. Ego needs of the people should be allowed to be. That's why even government serves to people to fulfill their, so that people fulfill their ego needs. Right. Governments also spend money on parties in your college. No. कॉलेज में जो फेस्ट होता है तो कॉलेज अलाउ यू नो एंड दैट फेस्ट इज अबाउट योर फुलफिलमेंट ऑफ ईगो नीड्स कैन वी से दिस और वो कॉलेज फेस्ट नहीं होगा तो आप तोड़फोड़ करोगे anyhow just to reduce the logic is this in western country people have relatively fulfilled their ego needs, hence they are more relaxed. But in developing countries, needs of people have not been fulfilled. That's why they are more violent. If you want to reduce level of violence, you have to fulfill their ego. That is the logic, which will explain you later on, right? Even self-interest is also good. You should know that. It is also good. But they are basically social contract. It is for a state. This theory is for a state. These theories are for individuals. This you should know. But it is about basically a state you can consider. That will be also, let's say, it is theory of justice. Right. Justice as fairness. This, it will give the moral principle like fairness as moral principle. This, basically we have three philosophies. This character, selflessness, self-interest. Mostly 80% of the time they will help you. Only in some situations we need them. This. Otherwise most of the questions can be addressed by them because they are the main body of knowledge, you can say main principles of philosophy. Right. So, and we were saying, that, so election commission case we were saying that now justice, fairness, what is fairness, how we consider any conduct as fairness, if you, the day you will be taught this theory of justice, you will know better. Already you may have heard about procedural justice, this distributive justice. The procedural justice, distributive justice, those ideas come from theory of justice. This you should know that. That is one thing. Indian philosophies are part and parcel. Indian philosophy will also be in character also. To be good human, Vedic philosophy. Then Charvak philosophy is also this self-interest. And Gita philosophy is selflessness. This way. So we can align Indian philosophy along with them, so wherever it will be relevant, we will teach you. Now let's come to, largely philosophy is, let's say, why there should be women representation in judiciary. Does it have any effect on judgment? Why there should be gender representation in judiciary? Right. Yes, I will end by this, then we'll take tomorrow. It was asked by one, I think, a judge or advocate in US, women judge, that basically in US there is a constitutional court. In that constitutional court there are 9 judges. Yes. So she was asked, how many women judges you want in constitutional court? She told all 9 judges. That was her response. Right. How you will know it all? So women have fought for their rights, maternity benefit, etc. One day will teach you, talk you. Many a time judges pass judgments which are not gender friendly. Just you should know that. It can bring better view on justice. That is how I can say this. So there is a feminist or ethics of care perspective which is a bit critic to their moral reasoning, right? Because they find a bit of biasness in that. Right? I told that biasness will affect justice. Right? So they will try to balance it. It is a kind of balancing act. This way, so they can be taken more as additional aspect. So what we come to understand about ethics, ethics deals with our character and conduct on the basis of established standards. What are those established standards? So they have given moral principle on the basis of established standards. And when our conduct will conform to those established standards, we can say our conduct as ethical or unethical. That is how definition part, right? Are you able to understand this? कुछ समझ में आ रहा है? Right. So let's take tomorrow. We'll further expand it, right? We'll finish here. Okay.